Well, good morning, my friends. Here we are. This is week 30. I can't believe it. We're winding down the year, as they say. It's only 22 weeks left until the end of the year. So, moving right along, week 30. Um, this is going to be a very short one, honest, because we just got in last night from a little 3-day vacation, and uh, it's still very early, and I'm pooped. And so, anyway, I wanted to show you some of the things. Real quick, I'll just mention that this is a 1,000 pound challenge. I'm diverting 1,000 pounds of things that would come from my kitchen or my home. I've had generously been given grass clippings from a neighbor, and I have a new addition. I have a neighbor who's saving a few little things for me, and I'll show you in a minute. But for the most part, it comes from our house. Excuse me. And it's things that, not recycling, we already recycle, but it's things that would get tossed away. And so it would be paper and cardboard, shred, coffee cups if you have it, any of that sort of thing, napkins. I'm not as good about it as our friend Sandra over at Nana's Worms and Gardens. She always says, give the worms your tissues. They don't mind. I love the way she says that. But anyway, it would be you're either going to put it in your worm bins if you're lucky enough to have worm bins, or you're going to put it in your compost if you're smart enough to have compost. You can actually use some of this in with your soil if you're just potting up your plants. And so just going through it, it's if you have any paper goods, that's on the carbon side. Any cork or popsicle sticks, nail files, any of that sort of thing. On the juicier end of it, the nitrogen end of it, the food side, you would want to save any of your coffee grounds or tea bags, coffee filters. I have loads of fruit scraps here that have been frozen. My suggestion is that you freeze them first, because it does cut down on any bugs that you would have. I just have an old pie tin that I keep. Now, we went on vacation, and we had one morning we had muffins, so I brought back the papers. We were quite excited at the breakfast bar. It was a complimentary breakfast with your room, and I walked away with all of my papers and banana peel, that sort of thing. I'm sure people were wondering what kind of diet is that woman on. Anyway, moving along there, I wanted to show you that I never think about this, but if you have things like these are the flour wraps, or tortilla chips or any of that sort of thing, that can be put in either with your worms or your compost. If you have any stale cereals, if you have any stale bread, stuff that you're going to throw out, if you're making stuffing out of it, if you're making something out of it, well, then it doesn't need to get thrown away. But if you are in fact going to throw it away, recycle it. I always mention this to you, that these bags that come out of a cereal box that have been heat sealed at the top, they work really well in your freezer. Oh, you can see I left there's some little bit of Cheerio dust. But they work well in your freezer. Like, I could have taken one of those bags and just put all of my freezer things in there so that I wouldn't have to use maybe a Ziploc or something like that. But for the most part, what I do is, this is barely a week, and then either I will give it to the worms, or I'll grind it up and make a slush. I'll dehydrate it and use it as powder. So, all things that we keep learning and learning. I have my corn chow this is cornmeal, and I have that I give my worms. And I don't count this as weight. I don't count that as saved weight because it's not stale. I'm actually using that fresh. But here I have my eggshells. I doubt I'm going to be able to do that one-handed, but I have eggshells and shrimp shells. Let me see if I can. Nope, I'm not going to be able to do that one-handed. Sorry. But here's my coffee grounds and my tea bags. I use the filters underneath either in the worm bends, or if I'm planting something, it acts as a great stopper underneath. And after about 6 or 8 months, the whole network of it has deteriorated and gone into the soil itself. It still has a holding power, but you don't see it anymore. I shred my cardboard and all that sort of thing. But the one thing I wanted to talk to you about was when you go away on vacation. I lead a very, I don't want to say primitive, but I lead a very simple life. We may go away somewhere a couple times a year, and my garden and my worms, and I walk early in the morning. I don't see a lot of people. COVID really even made my world a little bit smaller, but that was fine. I was happy. But going away on vacation, when you see how people will come down to a breakfast bar and will just automatically take plates and play. Oh, you've got 2 or 3 plates. That's fine. They stick together. Why only take one? The kid didn't like something, throw it away, get him something else. Hey, it's free. It's already included. Plastic, the utensils, napkins, just on and on and on. We tried to be as conservative as possible, being there 3 days, and we came away with 18. So 9 apiece. Rick would go down early. He's a very early riser, and he would go down and get a couple cups of coffee for me, because the coffee in the room, although it's probably the same coffee, it was Wolfgang Puck is their new sponsor, the new person they're carrying. But the stuff downstairs in the kitchen bar is constantly being brewed, and it was a little better tasting. Anyway, he would bring up 2 of these in the morning with 2 lids, and then then you go down for breakfast, and what do you get? You get 1 or 2 more. And so I tried to even take take an extra one down with me so that I wasn't using everything one use. By the way, these are not biodegradable. When people say that, oh, it'll break down completely, it will not break down completely. Anything hot, anything that has a hot beverage going into it actually has like a plastic liner. If you go back for my Jack and Jill's about, probably 6-7 months ago, I did a couple weeks on how these break down, but that there is this plastic film left behind. I thought it was very interesting that I was actually able to pull this out and discard it. The other thing I wanted to mention was we would go to restaurants, and of course they bring out unless it's a really, I would say, fancy restaurant, nobody's using material napkins here in the U.S. Even if you're going to a nice restaurant, $25 for a lunch entree, it was still paper. And so when they would bring our lunch, they would also come back and check on us, and then they would bring another handful of napkins. And I thought, wasn't that one? How wasteful was that? Either that, or they looked at Rick and they said, This guy looks like he eats with the back of his knuckles. We better we better give him some extras. So here was our extras. Just this was, I think, a couple, maybe 3 lunches. This was 9 napkins. And I mean, decent size, better quality napkins. And so that was that. This was some of the things that if I was picking up, or I had napkins that we used and nobody was looking, actually. I didn't want to keep stuffing things in my purse. It looks like I'm a bag lady. I'm going to use it later. Excuse me. You can tell it's very early. I have frog throat. But anyway, this was 12. Did I say that? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Oh, sorry. It was 9 apiece, right. But here was another thought. There's a sign on the on our mirror. I don't know if this is just Comfort Suites. Nice hotel chain, real close to the beach. But they use hospital grade disinfectants in your room after each guest. Your room isn't cleaned daily like it used to be. You can request that if you make a mess or you need to have it clean. But basically, there's a little flyer on your door, a little tag on the door that says, I need, towels, how many towels, da da da, this, that, goes on and on. And everything is stripped. So I thought, well, you know what? These are already wrapped in plastic. I'm going to go ahead and take those for when somebody comes to my house to do work. I can give them a to-go cup that I know. I don't care if they bring it back. I mean, they don't have to bring it back. It's like, okay, it's out, and it isn't being thrown away. That's the big key. It isn't being thrown away. We are such garbage. I don't want to use the word pig because that puts a denotation on pigs. I mean, I cannot tell you. I sat there because I get down there early and Rick is still at the beach taking pictures, and I set up our little breakfast with all the little paper goods and kind of wait for him. But I was looking at these 2 trash cans, the nice stainless steel, trash cans that have the lid, and people just going and throwing away and throwing away and throwing away. And when I got ready and I was putting our stuff, because I wasn't going to take home plates and stuff, when I was throwing it away, I could see all of this inside, and it kind of made me very sad to think that this is just a real small example. So let me stop it here and I'll go to the other side. Hang on. Hello again. Okay, now let me just go over this quickly. Um, Thanks for coming back. For those of you who hung on, thank you very much. The 3 days that I was away, I ended up losing 12 watchtowers. I thought, wow, okay. So I'm not sure why I'm doing this, but I'll keep at it. So that was it. I think I told you everything. I didn't have any flowers or any leaves or anything, but just Monday we cut our own grass, and it was a hardy, and I got everything put away. I was all sweaty. I was covered and had been out with Rick and helping him, and I'm just ready to walk in. And who comes down the street with his little hand cart but our friend Brian with a big bag of grass. So I pulled everything back out, the scale and the little trays and everything. And he says, you really weigh this, don't you? And I said, yes, I do. And then it breaks it into, 8-9 pound things that I can carry around and go around. But anyway, one other thing I wanted to mention was this is coconut. Don't ask me how long it's been in the pantry. I know I've cleaned the pantry out, and I must think to myself, oh, I'll use this for some reason or other. But it's sweetened. It has sugar in it. I mean, well, I don't know what coconut and sugar. So for a diabetic, I try to avoid using this for Rick. I don't know why we would have had it. It's probably years old. It's looking brown. I'm thinking that if I pulverize it, I can mix it in with stuff and give it to the worms. It's a few ounces. I'll count it. So anyway, I really Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You know, I didn't have my usual coffee, fruit. Da, 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 da. I could only drag back so much of what we took with us. But we did come up with 56 pounds, 3 ounces. That was basically, Brian was 43 pounds. So, and we were just 9 pounds, 4 ounces. So we had 891 pounds, 8.4 ounces before. With our addition, it's 947 pounds, 11.4 ounces. I've had a few of you, because I mentioned for bragging rights, who would like to guess the exact date that I hit 1,000. And who knows, it might be this week, it might be the end of this week, it might be the beginning of next week. I had a few takers who guessed 4 or 5, and then I said December 30th, and I meant December 31st. What would you, if you would like to put in a guess as to what we would recycle if we hit 1,000 here with 2/3 of the year, what would we hit by the end of the year? I should be give you the little clue that most of us don't cut grass in December. Most of the time the grass pretty much stops growing. You folks up north have snow. Well, we don't have snow, but we just don't have the sun angle that your grass is going to grow. So anyway, I'll end it there, other than saying the trip was an eye-opener in recycling. We haven't gone anywhere since I started this challenge, and I had the strongest urge to ask the little breakfast lady, would you mind if I came down and went through your bags of trash so I could take home things, you know, that the banana peels, for God's sake. That was the one that kills me to throw away. So anyway, that was it. I hope this helps you open your eyes to some of the possibilities out there that I feel like we're a sinking ship, and I'm here with a little cap throwing things out. So I hope you'll join me with your little cap and try to get a little more of the water out of this ship. So anyway, I'm wearing my Amelia t-shirt, my Amelia Island t-shirt. If you go back to the one that I just did before, I just did a few minutes on Amelia Island and the turtle watches that they do. They do this every year, and it's like so exciting that people stand around, because they kind of know when she came in later eggs, and then they count how many days, and they have a watch, and they have neighbors and community people who actually have a watch and can put out a call saying, hey, you know, and people will either walk there or come there. No lights, no house lights, no flashlights, anything like that, because they don't want the little hatchlings to get confused. They want them to see the reflection of the moon. It's usually on a full moon, and see the reflection, and they know where they see the glistening water, and they take off. I would think that would be a one-in-a-lifetime experience for most human beings. Maybe not for those who do it on a regular basis, but would be for me. So anyway, I will say, take care. I hope everybody has a fabulous week. Sorry it was so long. I hope to see you all next week. Remember, garden what you've got, and take care of each other. Bye-bye.